Welcome, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Tom Matt Show. Thank you so much for joining us. We're around weekends. We're a weekend show. We do an hour-long, what they call long-form radio here. We talk topics with subject matter experts from everything except politics and religion. But we like talking real estate. We're talking a lot of real estate because real estate is so important. It's been so important in our life. Last week, Dr. Avellino was back. Anthony Avellino, you might remember his name. Performance living, transitions in life, and some tech stuff. We always talk tech with Tony. Tony is a pediatric neurosurgeon in Scottsdale, Arizona. He's a very good friend. I knew him from MSU, known him for a long, long time. And he is a great guy. You want to check those out because those are really good episodes. Really, really, really informative. So please check that out. Tony Avellino. Those are all on the website, tommattshow.com. And remember, tommattshow.com, you can go to the bottom of that page. Our sponsor's there, Brock's there, Mikey's there. Click on through, away you go. Simple, cake. All right, today, got a new topic that we're going to do a little bit with the reality of real estate. This was a suggestion from my man Brock, trying to make the show better, trying to make the outreach better, trying to reach more people with good questions and good tips on how to sell and buy homes. Today, it's buying. It's like the buyer's agent, okay? Top 10 questions buyers ask, and we asked AI, or actually Brock did, and I did as well. And it's like, this is great because this is exactly where things are going. Brock was the one who brought this up from a meeting that he had down at the Keller Williams giant forum that they have. And I think it's awesome. I think it's great. And so we're going to run through these with Mikey. Brock will be in here and there. Brock Fletcher, you know him. He's been involved with real estate for how long now? 25 years?
21 years, yeah,
21
as
years.
an
I
agent.
had 21 here, but I've scratched it out so many times. It's like, okay, how many?
Mike's got me beat though. I think he's like 24 years, if I'm not
Well, I
mistaken.
saw on his LinkedIn, he's got 2000, so he's almost 25. He's getting
Yeah.
close. So hey, congratulations on that. We'll bring Mikey in here in just a second. Brock, 25th time on the show. If you want to hear his bio, go listen to some other episodes because I want to get Mikey in here and talk about it. Okay? Everybody knows. Talk about the family. I mean, you got your beautiful wife and your daughter. Jenna graduate. She's done now. Is she working or is she close?
She'll be done with her master's December the 6th, and she's taking her boards this Saturday for her speech pathology. So, but her official graduation date will be December 6th.
You got to be so proud. You got to be so proud.
Yeah, I am very
And,
proud.
and look at these. See, this is what happens with parents because I've been there myself, you guys. He knew the date. He knew the
Yeah.
date of commencement. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, she graduated. She's taking her test. She's got a job. She's going to go work and do her thing. What about your beautiful wife? How's things over there? I'm going to be over at Sparrow next week. So how's she doing in the nursing game?
Great. Yeah, I think we're both really hyper focused on Jenna being done with college. That's a big moment for us. So that's all we talk about pretty much.
I can tell. I can tell. Well, you're proud, and that's great, and I love it. So, congratulations on all that. We'll have to get her on the radio program, absolutely for sure, because we've talked about her enough times. I mean, every show we talk about her. All right, Mike Dedman's here as well. He's been here on the show once before. Now, full disclosure, you guys have heard me say Mike's name all the time because he was our buyer's agent for Little House Lansing. Okay, he took care of all that, and it was awesome. He was great service. This is coming right off of his LinkedIn profile. High integrity, honest, great guy, dedicated to his career, been in the real estate business since 2000, almost 25 years, has served hundreds, if not thousands of clients, high standards. He's a very, very, very just humble, nice guy who follows up on stuff. He specializes in residential and vacant land sales, and he is the man with the buyer's agent. So when we were going to do a show on the top 10 questions buyers ask AI, guess who the subject matter expert Brock chose? Mikey. Okay, so there we go. Mikey's here. Mikey, why don't you start it off here and go ahead and just talk about your family. Welcome back to the show, and thank you to both of you for being with us today. And we're gonna have some fun with this one. So please take your time, get warmed up, and talk about your family.
Well, first of all, Tom and Brock, both of you, thank you very much for inviting me to be here today. I really do appreciate that and enjoy talking about real estate just about any time I get a chance. I've been married this year for 41 years to my wife.
Congratulations.
We got married right out of high school. Went to the same high school, didn't know each other in high school. I was a little bit older than her. I hate to admit that, but I was. And so we didn't know each other in high school, but went to the same high school and knew all the same people, just not each other. And got 41 years in this year. I have, excuse me, one stepson, Kevin, in Florida, with two grandbabies down there that are just awesome. We had them here this summer for about 2 weeks over the 4th of July weekend, which was wonderful. 5 and 7 year olds. And then I have a daughter who is in Dallas, Texas with her husband, and she is actually in the hospital right now, giving birth to my first grandbaby with her first child. And
Ooh,
so I got my phone right here in case if that happens while we're here. I'm going to be looking at it maybe. But anyways, lived in
what is, oh,
Houston
hold up,
oh,
Mikey, hold up.
yep,
What is your
go
wife's
ahead.
name? And then what is your daughter's name?
My wife's name is Joanne,
Joanne.
and my
Okay.
daughter's name is Dallas.
Say that again.
Dallas,
Dallas.
like
Okay,
the
great.
city, Dallas. Yep,
Okay,
yep.
got it.
She lives in Dallas.
And she lives in Dallas.
Dallas
Yes,
and Dallas.
She's having a
Dallas,
baby
Dallas.
in Dallas. Okay, great. We got it. Is the baby
Yeah.
called like Fort Worth or something? I don't know. I mean,
They picked a name. It's Penelope Parker Johnson. Penelope, I'm not sure where Penelope comes from, but I love it.
I
But
like
yeah,
it.
they are excited as can be, and just I'm sure nervous as can be right now with all this that's going on. But it's going to be awesome. We got a trip planned down there soon, and it'll be wonderful to see this new baby.
That's awesome.
Lived in Houston for the first 40 years of my life, and then moved to Michigan in late 99, 2000. Got right into real estate right away. Worked at Coldwell Banker in Charlotte, where I live at, and was working as a full-time agent, just doing both sides, listings and buyers. Because I didn't know really anybody in Michigan, though, most of my business came from buyers, and so I really took a liking to working with buyers and spending time with buyers, getting to know people. It was one way for me as well, being new to the community, to get to know people. And so I did, and then started joining different committees got on a few committees at the Board of Realtors, got on the Charlotte Frontier Days committee, spent about 11 years on that committee, ended up being the chair a couple years, and served on a few different committees at the Board of Realtors with grievance, MLS, actually MA Board of Director this year at the Board of Realtors. And so I really enjoy giving back, volunteering when I can, and just working with as many buyers as possible. So did that in Charlotte for about 6 years. The foreclosure market came along, moved my business to the Lansing area for a foreclosure broker, Dave Whitcomb, here in the Lansing area, and worked as a buyer's agent for him for going on about 6 years, 5.5, 6 years. And then Brock and his team came calling, looking for a buyer's agent. I really liked Brock's business model and how he did things with his business, and I felt like it fit really well with how I like to work and do stuff. And so joined the selling team. I think this is my 13th year here on the selling team as a buyer's agent, and have just really enjoyed it being here working with buyers. Have been able to serve a lot of people and help a lot of people get into their first home, second home, third home, investment properties. Just that's kind of it in a nutshell.
That's great. That's perfect, because I'm gonna take this thing to break and carry this thing through. And I've got some questions I'm going to ask you before we jump in. Our topic today, everybody, let me reset this thing before we go break. Top 10 questions buyers ask, and we're going to ask AI. Brock, check this out. This is a reality of real estate episode. So we're talking about buyer's agents. So if you're getting ready to buy, and I got questions for Mikey when we come back about Brock's business model and the difference between a buyer's agent and a seller's agent and how he feels about that. He kind of explained that just a tiny bit just now, but we want to dive into that because we had the same experience in our dealings where Brock helped us. You guys have heard the story. You'll hear me tell the story again a million times about Big House Holt, but Little House Lansing was it was a trying time for us. And we needed somebody like a Mike Dedman to come in and help us out and smooth things out. And he did, and it worked out great. And it's like, we're still here. We love this place so much. So once again, wrapping this segment up, the buyer's agent, Brock's here. Mikey Dedman's here. What a party we're going to have here. This is the Tom Walsh. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Thank you, Sandy, for bringing us back in. I want to thank our staff, Mitch Anderson and Vanessa, for what they do to help keep this program running. You know that Brock is he's our key sponsor. He's been with us for a long time. He's been on the show this is his 25th visit. We have utilized their services. We're very, very happy with their services because we trust him implicitly. Brock came to me, and you guys have heard this story before, where Brock and I hadn't even met, and he gave me the lowdown on Big House Holt back in the day, our forever home, which turned out to be not our forever home. And I think that happens to a lot of people where, I mean, I even heard Dave Ramsey say it on one of his radio broadcast. It's like, you think you're going to have a forever home, and then you have 2 or 3 of them. I mean, I like to think Little House Lansing right now is our forever home. It really is, because it's like we're back in our home area where we lived. So everything with the selling team is solid. And we're doing a special thing for the next couple of episodes because we're going to do some asking AI questions. Today is about buyers. Tomorrow, or our next recording session, which is tomorrow, we will be talking about sellers. And we have different people from the team coming on talking about this. And we're going to package them together so that you guys can get 2 weeks of the reality of real estate from the buyer's perspective and from the seller's perspective. And then you can always go get the podcast. Phone numbers. Office number 517-853-6408. Let me say that one more time. 517-853-6408. This is the key number. The 303 number. Ready? 517-303-3262. 517-303-3262. That's Brock's mobile cell lifeline to his pocket. Text him. Tell him Tommy sent it. He'll know it's from me. And he'll call you back. Leave him a voicemail, text him, however you want to do it. He's a tech guy, and he's all over it. Go online to kwsellingteam.com, or you can go to our website, tommattshow.com, at the bottom of the homepage and click on through, because their website's sweet. I mean, it's really, really well done. Brock does not play when it comes to marketing. Brock is a big investor with this stuff. He believes in it. He has we just went to one of his marketing things that what do you call those events that he has? We went to one of those last weekend. It was really fun. Brock does all kinds of stuff for his customers and his staff, and it's unbelievable. So again, 517-303-3262. And lastly, before we get back into Mikey here, I want to say thank you to Joan Wright. Joan, I hope you got my thank you card, because you're the bomb. And I'm going to be mentioning your name a lot now, because Brock told me that story, got me all emotional. That's how I am. And so now you're part of the read with Brock's team. So welcome to the team. Okay, there you go, Joan. Hope you like that. Joan Wright, awesome person. All right, back to the show. Buyer's agent. Brock's here, Mike's here. Mikey is a buyer's agent for the selling team. He helped us with Little House Lansing, as I've just mentioned. Before we jump into the 10 questions of Buyers Ask AI, I just want to get a quick read on, Mikey, you said in the last segment, that you really liked Brock's business model. And I'm curious as to why that is, so that you can explain, to the listeners and to potential customers, what is it that drew you to Brock and his team?
Well, Tom, you kind of hit on it with part of the bio for me in the beginning there, with honesty, integrity, and treating people fairly, kindly. I mean, just always being there for somebody when they need it, and sometimes even before they know they need it. I really felt like the way I run my life at home and at work lined up with how Brock does as well. And I felt like I was home.
That's the way
Yeah.
we felt. I
Yeah.
mean, Brock's the kind of guy where when you meet him, you're going to get the real deal. There's no pretense whatsoever. And
That's right.
He's just a good dude. I mean, he's just a good guy. That's where we're really tight friends. He's a good Spartan, and he does his. Explain to the listeners really quickly, so we can get into these 10 points, the difference between a buyer's agent and a seller's agent, because I'm kind of curious myself. Do you specialize as strictly buyers, or how does that work?
So I do. A buyer's agent, my fiduciary belongs to the buyer client. What it does is it allows me to spend 100% of my time in real estate looking for houses for my buyer clients, and not spending really any time on the listing side of the purchase, right? So I'm not working with sellers. I'm not having to do anything as far as that goes on that end. but it allows me to spend just 100% of the time focused on my buyers and my clients and researching the market and stuff like that. So knowing what's for sale every day, what comes on the hot sheet, where the listing agent is the opposite of that. Their fiduciary is to the seller and getting them the best price in the most timely manner for their home. My fiduciary is to get my buyer the best price on the house and the time that fits their schedule as well.
So when I send you pictures of homes I see for sale, that helps.
That helps. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Pictures, addresses, MLS
That's
numbers, any of those.
Here's the thing, everybody. And if we want to work together collaboratively, mid-Michigan, helping people, if you see a sign or you see a house for sale just popped up in your neighborhood, get a hold of Brock. 303-3262. Just text him the address. House for sale. Boom, done. Send it to him. They'll take care of business. I've told you guys the story about Mike, my old neighbor. We'll talk about that another time. But that was a good explanation. I like it that you explained the fiduciary. We've had shows on fiduciary and what that means on the finance side of things. So you spend 100% of your time working for your buyers. And I did not know that. And I'm really, really glad that you said that. Okay, so let's get into this. The 10 questions buyers ask AI. Brock, you want to do the first one? How would you like to do
Sure, yeah. Yeah, so I ran this search on, this was a Gemini AI search. So if you've got a preference for Gemini or Chat GPT, I use them both, but this is Gemini produced. But Mike, coming at you. The first top 10 question for, as a perception of AI, how much house can I actually afford? First and most critical question, according to AI, that a buyer will have.
Well, and I definitely would agree with that, Brock, that that is probably the first most critical question, because without knowing what you can afford doesn't allow me to really do anything with you, right? That's where it begins at, is getting your pre-approval done with a good local lender, getting that done. So we know that I tell buyers all the time that if you're pre-approved, I treat you just like I would treat a cash buyer. Because I know that you can afford any house that we go into that's at the price or below what your pre-approval letter is for. And so how much house can, and I think it all boils down to, most buyers are really looking for the payment, as far as what the monthly payment's gonna be versus what the total I mean, the total cost is there for sure, but it's what I'm comfortable paying monthly. And so, breaking that down into, I always tell people the mortgage is made up of four things: the principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. And if you're less than 20% equity, you're going to have PMI. So 5 things there. But man, starting off with that pre-approval process, and that's where I would go with any new buyer that I take on. Let's get you pre-approved if you're not already done.
And you guys have the setup lenders and you have people that you work with, and we'll talk about that. I'm going to carry this through, Mikey, because we're going to go to break and we're almost done. But here's the setup, everybody. Top 10 questions real estate buyers ask AI. These questions that Brock ran for me, and Brock is kind of helping with running the interview today with the 100% buyer's agent, the fiduciary himself, Mr. Mike Dedman, who helped us with Little House Lansing, got us through that. That was some trying times. Brock had the harder part when it came to the sellers. We'll talk about that in the next episode, because selling your forever home when your wife's not expecting it, could be trouble. Better have Brock on your side. You're listening to the Tom Matt Show. Hey, everybody. Thank you for listening to the Tom Matt Show. If you're just joining us, today is a reality of real estate episode. We're doing a couple in a row because we had a new topic kind of idea. Well, actually, Brock did. It's a really good idea, asking, because AI is so relevant nowadays that we're going to run 2 shows. One is on the buyer side of things, and the next show is going to be on the seller side of things. And it's really a fun deal. This is where this is one of the favorite things I like to do in the new way we do the show now. Testimonials from Brock's clients, Mikey's clients. We are always kept in the loop. This is from Becky from East Lansing. We are always kept in the loop when new properties became available. We found the information provided was very accurate and helpful in continuing the process of making an informed decision for purchasing vacant property. That was, again, from Becky from East Lansing. Brock, when you hear stuff like that, how does that make you feel? I mean, it's gotta warm your heart, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. And I mean, we're the most reviewed team in mid-Michigan. I think we have 570 some 5-star reviews. And the thing that actually gives me the most pride is most of the reviews now are from my teammates. And that's the thing that gives me the most amount of pride, because they're carrying on the vision that I set forth, which is the client for, provide to the client first. Beyond real estate, real family, the client's number one.
Right. And that's why you want to utilize, let me give you the phone numbers again, everybody, because that's why you want to utilize these services. Again, the office number 517-853-6408. Ask for Brock, ask for Mike, ask for any of them. 5173, this is Brock's number, right to his pocket. 517-303-3262, 303-3262. Go there, call him, text him. If you see a house for sale, text him, tell him the address. Mikey will be all over it, and he'll appreciate it. And that helps other people. So we want to make sure that we help other people. And believe me, you guys, these are the most trustworthy cats you'll ever meet in your life. That's why I love them so much. They just take good care of business, and they took care of us over here. And we'll talk about the anxiety we went through when we were going to propose selling Big House, but we'll do that another time, because today is about buying. And when we bought Little House Lansing, Mikey was our guy. All right, Brock, you're in charge of this now. Go ahead. Let's try and get through all 10 of these.
Mike,
go ahead.
Question number 2 from AI. Is it a good time to buy, or should I wait?
Ooh.
Brock, I got these questions early, and there was one thing that really came to mind as soon as I read that question, and you were there as well at Family Reunion, which is a Keller Williams convention this year in February. I don't remember if it was Gary Keller or who it was that said this on stage, but it stuck with me, and I repeat this very often, is you don't wait to buy real estate, you buy real estate and wait. And what I mean by that, waiting is going to cost you more money, because the market's going to continue to appreciate, especially where we're at today. And so when you wait, it's going to cost you more money. So if you buy real estate now, instead of trying to time the market, I mean, you're never going to be able to do that. I mean, your buyers want to buy at the bottom of the market, sellers want to sell at the top of the market. If you can get in that middle part of the market, I think you're going to be just fine. But that saying there stuck with me since Family Reunion, and it makes perfect sense. I mean, I repeat that over and over to new buyer clients that are saying, yeah, I'm just going to hold on for a minute. Holding on is going to cost you money.
Exactly. And you just
the other thing I always say too, Mike, which is a lot of times does your personal situation dictate that it's the right time, right? So
yeah,
if you're right about the market, and if your personal situation says now's the right time, it's the right time.
it's the right time.
And we've had other episodes, everybody. There's 24 other episodes on the reality of real estate. So we've covered these topics very in depth. Go back and listen to them. They don't cost you a dime. You can listen to Brock and some of his staff, and just whatever they're going to bring to you. If you have a question, look at all the titles and you'll see they're all different. All right, go ahead, Brock.
All right, question number 3, Mike. What's the best way to get a mortgage, and what interest rate can I get?
Ooh.
Well, that will link us back to question 1 with that pre-approval for one. Having a good local lender doing that for you. I know there's a lot of different types of loans out there. Your credit score is going to come into play as well with what type of loan, what you qualify for, what interest rates you might be able to get. Today let's say we're around the 6.5%, maybe a little bit below today, but right there around 6.5%. The national average over the last 50 years has been 7.5%. So we're below that even today. I mean, I haven't had the interest rate question come up a lot lately, just because I think people have settled in that we are where we're at. And that's not a bad interest rate. There's a lot of different types of loans. And so I think most lenders are looking for a 640 credit score or better to get a good interest rate. But then there's a lot of different types of loans out there with conventional FHA, VA, rural development. You really need to know which one fits you're the best as the buyer, because all of them have different down payment requirements. Some have none, some have more. So really starting off with that pre-approval letter is top.
This is really informative, because people, they get excited about buying a home, say it's the first time, and they can't afford it. You're the guy who's got to kind of like, okay, we got to make sure we do this right, because you don't want to go put an offer on a place and then miss that first step, because then you got people that are excited about a house, but they can't afford it. So that makes no sense. So we got to get with the guys that have a system. And that's what I like about the selling team is they've got specialists. Mikey's a specialist. Again, he said earlier, 100% fiduciary. He's a buyer's agent. That's it. He's not selling homes at all. He's a person. He is your buyers. He is your guy, and he was our guy. All right, Brock, go ahead.
Yeah, another good question coming at you here, Mike. What are the closing costs and how much will they be?
So when I get asked this question, my answer is always going to be it's about 3% of the sales price. And so you can if you can picture that $100,000 home, you're going to have about 3,000 in closing costs, and that's going to cover quite a bit. I mean, that will get your appraisal covered, your origination fees through the lender, possibly even your first year of homeowners insurance in there. You can, depending on, what kind of leverage you have in the offer situation, maybe ask for the seller to cover some of those costs as well. It just depends. Brand new home on the market, multiple offers, probably not going to work. Home that's been on the market for a little while, where there's some leverage in our side of the court, may have the opportunity to ask for some seller concessions. And so it really is about 3% of the sales price. And you hit the nail on the head there, Tom, with me knowing what a buyer can do and can afford. That's why it's so important for that buyer consult first. So I can find out. I don't want to obligate anybody to something that they can't do.
Let me add something here, because I want Brock to give another question, because we're going to come up on break here in just a minute. But Mikey, if you remember back when we were negotiating for Little House,
Yep.
we wanted this place bad. You knew that. So we went in with an escalation. When we've had shows on this, Brock has explained the whole escalation thing, because I didn't know anything about it until we couldn't get a place over in Wisconsin. And you learn the hard way, everybody. You learn the hard way. When you put in a escalation clause, when you make that offer, give me a quick answer on that one, Mikey. How often do you do that?
If I'm competing, it's just about every time. I mean, it's a way for you to save money as a buyer and maybe not have to pay any more than you have to, right? So maybe you don't escalate all the way to what you're willing to pay at the top of what you would pay for the property. You may end up a little bit below that by using that escalation clause.
So you could come in and basically, if I'm understanding this correctly, is you can come in and you have a budget, but you can make a lower offer but have the escalation clause in case it needs to go up. You've got that little bit of wiggle room. And so you can kind of play the game. You might get a lower price, as Mikey was saying, but if it's very competitive, which lately it has been, boom, away you go. And before we go to break here, I want to say one more thing. 6.5% on an interest rate is really a very fair price. When we first bought our homes, Sandy and I, 25, 30 years ago, it was 7.5, 8, 9. I mean,
Sure.
interest rates were way, way, way high. So 6.5 is not bad. So just, if that's holding you up, go back to, is it a good time to buy? It's always a good time to buy. Just buy
That's right.
call Mikey. You're listening to Tom Mitch. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Thank you, Sandy, for bringing us back. Today, Realta Real Estate, having a fun one. Call this one the Buyer's Agent. Top 10 questions buyers ask AI. We got the man. He helped us. He is our guy, Mikey Deadman. He's the bomb. He's got like 25 years in real estate, been with Brock forever, and they're just good guys. And he was our buyer's agent. Full disclosure on all of that. So before we go any further with this and get through these questions, I think we're going to make it too. Got to get your contact info there, Studley. Let's do, Brock, you do yours first, and then we'll go to Mikey. So please share everything you want to share, and tell the listeners how they can find you.
Well, I want to keep this about Mike, so I'm going to make mine really easy. Cell phone is the best way to get me, really, period. It's 517-303-3262. Text or call, either way.
Boom. Okay, Mikey, your turn. Now you go.
Yeah, so
take longer, and you can share all your stuff if you take your time. Okay, go right ahead. I want people to call you.
I mean, easiest way to get a hold of me is by calling, texting, emailing. My phone number is 517-944-4644. 6914. My email address is mike.deadman, and that's DEDMAN @gmail.com. I'm on LinkedIn as well. So you can get to me there. I mean, my phone is probably the best way to do it, but I will look at all of it. I mean, I use all forms of social media to look for leads and look for people trying to contact me. You can go to our, and I hope I get this right, Brock. You can correct me if I'm wrong. It's the selling team .com. Is that our website?
KWSellingTeam.com.
Yeah.
KWSellingTeam.com.
Yep.
Just go to the Tom Matt Show website, everybody, and click on through the
That's
banner.
it.
Just
That's
click on the
right.
banner and away you go. Go look at the reality real estate episodes and kind of get a feel for what we're doing here, because that's what it's all about. So easy peasy. All right. Back to our top 10 questions buyers ask AI. Let me refresh this, everybody. This is what we've covered so far. This is number one, how much can I afford? How much can I actually afford? Is it a good time to buy? What's the best way to get a mortgage? See how this all leads into, these are questions people ask AI. So we're just filling in the blanks here with the man. What are closing costs? I really never knew what closing costs were. And 3%, that's a good way of thinking about that. And we're up to number 5, which is Brock's turn. Go ahead, Brock. Go ahead and what do you think how do you think Mikey's doing? He's doing a good job?
Oh, he's awesome. He's the best. He's the best.
He's the best. I hope people, and let me tell you guys, you see these houses for sale pop up in your neighborhood, text Brock the address or text
Or
Mikey.
Mike, yeah.
517-944-6914. 517-944-6914. Boom. Okay. Go ahead, Mike.
Number 5 coming at you here, Mike. How long has this house been on the market, and why is the seller moving? Number 5 question.
Yeah, and definitely my job is to know that question, right? To know how long a house has been on the market, because I said this earlier, the more leverage that I can find in our side of the court is going to be beneficial when we're making our offer. The question about why is the seller moving, there's hundreds of reasons why sellers move, and it's not really usually out there anywhere unless an agent divulges that information to me. But I wrote down, I mean, some things. I know we go by kind of the D's here: deaths, diplomas, divorces, diapers, downsizing, people getting married. Now they want to sell both houses and get a new house. Job changes. I mean, the list goes on and on. Kids want to be in a certain school district, or parents want their kids in a certain school district. Where you work may have an effect on that. COVID kind of changed a little bit of that with people working from home, which kind of drove me nuts, to be honest with you, because I like to have a location where people want to live. And when they're like, I don't care anywhere, it's like, okay, well, that's a broad search. Let's get it set up. But there's just so many reasons why sellers sell. It's hard to tie it down unless you just flat out ask the agent.
Good question. How long has this house been on the market?
Are we ready for the next one?
I was surprised with the question is, why is the seller moving? Okay. Why is the seller moving? So
comes up a lot. Why are they selling?
Okay.
Yeah.
And you typically don't have that answer, realistically.
You don't.
Yeah. All right. Number 6 coming at you. It's a big one, Mike, that buyers have, especially when you're getting ready to write the offer. What's included in the sale? What's the property coming with it?
Yeah, so our multiple listing info sheet lists a lot of the stuff that's going to come with the property, right? So looking at that and then asking questions from the real estate agent that's the listing agent to make sure that these things say, I'm a person that likes things to be black and white on a contract. I don't like the gray area of wondering what's going to be there when I get there as the buyer when we close. So typical things are most of your appliances are usually there unless they're not there when you're touring the home. But that they are on the MLS sheet, the multiple listing sheet as well. What's staying as far as those things go: washers, dryers, dishwashers, refrigerators, microwaves, range ovens, softeners, maybe if they're not rented. Anything that's attached to the home that's not reserved by the seller is considered to be staying there with it. Even when it gets down to the propane in a tank, when a buyer purchases, if there's propane in that tank, that should stay with the house unless the seller has reserved that. And they can, It's very rare that they do, but they could. So unless the seller reserves something, you're almost considering it to be there when you get there.
I had that
Yeah.
happen one time. We bought a house in Wisconsin, and then the people asked, "Hey, kid, we forgot to mention we'd like to take that big table that was over there by the window." And I'm like, "No way, baby, that ain't happening." It was part of the inclusion, right? So what's included in this, that's important because don't forget if you got a mirror or you got something that you want in your and you want to take it, but it's like part of the house,
Put
keep
it
that
in.
in mind, everybody.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind, okay?
Something,
Absolutely.
something, oh, something weird that people, it doesn't happen very often, Tom, but sometimes people will reserve plants in the yard, right? So plantings, I'm taking half that hosta, I'm taking this. That's important to know because your buyer client gets there after closing and half the plants are gone.
Does
That's
that
not a
happen?
good feeling.
Does that happen?
I've never had it happen where I've had it happen where the seller's reserving plants. I've never had it happen where they didn't reserve them and then we got there and they were gone.
Oh, see, that's good. That's a really good tip because see, we had a similar situation happen where when you plant material is very, very expensive. So if you like the house and the landscaping, make sure that you ask that question because it doesn't hurt to ask your buyer's agent, Mikey, hey, are they taking any of is all the landscaping included? Just to be careful with this stuff, just to be safe. I mean, that's the way to go with this. All right. We got about a couple minutes to go here, Brock, before we start. Do you want to do one more question and then we'll
I think, yeah, I think we can get it in. This next one's kind of a big question, and you have to be careful of it because you cannot, discriminate against folks. But Mike, what is the neighborhood like? Question number 7. What's the neighborhood like?
Yeah, and you kind of touched on it, Brock. That's a tough one sometimes. I tell people that real estate law prohibits me from talking about certain things. And a lot of it is things that you would think your real estate agent can talk about, but we have to be careful because because of fair housing, there's certain things that real estate agents cannot say. What I have always said is be the source of the source. So I can always guide somebody to a website. Trust me, there's a website for everything out there. I can always guide somebody to a website to go find that information. I just can't be the one to tell them that.
That's good info. That is so important. So don't think that they're trying to pull a fast one on you because
Yeah,
there's certain, again, as a fiduciary, he's got to protect you and he's got to be straight because a fiduciary, a responsibility as a fiduciary means he's got your best interest at heart. So do not deviate from that because it's very important to ask these questions. That's why you're paying Mikey. Ask the questions. All right, we're going to go to break here. I'm going to reset this thing. Brock and Mike are here, calling this one the buyer's agent. 10 questions. Buyers ask AI. Buyers ask AI. Been a fun show. We're going to do the next show will be what sellers ask AI. That'll be, and we're going to do these shows back to back. So they'll air back to back. So you guys out there in listening world, you can find it. All right. Again, Brock and Mike are here, the buyer's agent, Reality Real Estate. This is the Tom Mann Show. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Thank you, Sandy, again for bringing us in. I like saying that because Sandy will never come on the radio program. And for those of you that are new listeners, Sandy is the boss. Sandy is Sandy Matt. She is my wife and she's the best. And so she keeps things straight. That's the way it goes with our life. Okay. Today, Brock's here, Brock Fletcher, Mikey Deadman, both awesome guys. The buyer's agent. Mikey was our buyer's agent, as I've said, and I will continue to say because it's all true. He was our buyer's agent for Little House Lansing. Thank goodness. His phone number is 517-944-6914. You go there, you go in your neighborhood and you see a house for sale, text Mikey that address because he'll get you good neighbors. How about that? You don't want some deadbeat coming in your neighborhood, right? So send it to Mikey. He'll get you good people. He's got good people. He's got good friends out there. Remember, you go to tommattshow.com. All of our shows are there, reality, real estate, and all that. And you can go to the bottom of the homepage. And of course, you've got Brock's website. Just click on through to the selling team and away you go. All right, we're almost done here. We're at the top 10 questions buyers ask AI. Let me reset them again. How much houses cost? Is it a good time to buy? What's the best way to get a mortgage? These are things that Brock and Mikey will help you with. And as we said during the show, and I did not know this, I assumed this, but I'm glad that Mikey said this. He is 100% buyer's agent, fiduciary. Boom. That's it. He's not selling homes. He's strictly out there helping you buy homes. Okay. Closing costs, how long has this house been on the market? Why are they moving? I was kind of surprised by that question. What's included in the sale? That's why I'm kind of glad we're doing this, because you can't think of everything, and thank goodness for AI. Okay. What's included in the sale? Make sure you ask those questions about anything that you like in the house or outside of the house, or, like the propane Mikey was saying, if there's propane in that tank and you're out in the, you've got your fuel that way, that could be hundreds of dollars. That's your money. Maybe. Well, what's the neighborhood like? That's why you want to text Mikey when you see a house for sale in your neighborhood. Text him like 517-944-6914 so he can get you good neighbors. All right, Brock, your turn. Go ahead.
All right, number 8. What's the condition of the home and what repairs might it need?
Good question again by buyers. And as I said, being their fiduciary, I put their interest ahead of mine when walking through a house. And just because I've been in real estate for a long time, there's certain things that I know and I can point out that I can, say about the home as far as what I see. I don't need an inspector usually to tell me that a roof is bad. When I see a roof that's bad, I can tell most of the time. But as far as like the furnace, the age of the furnace, the age of the water heater, sometimes I can find those dates on those mechanicals. Sometimes I can't, but I will tell you that the home inspectors usually can. I do lean a little bit on seller's disclosures, because if the seller's been in the home for any amount of time, then typically they're going to know what the answer is to that question. And it's going to be on the disclosure statements, or how old the roof is, if they've ever had water in the basement, how old the furnace is, what kind of plumbing. I mean, there's a lot of good questions that are answered on the seller's disclosure statement, but there are some properties that are exempt from those seller's disclosure statements. So having a really good inspector and having the home inspected is going to get you the answers that you're looking for, I think, in that regard.
Mikey, can you help with the home inspector? Do you guys have because I think you did with Little House Lansing. I didn't know any home inspectors, and you brought those guys to us. And again, if you don't get, and the second question is, have you ever had a situation where a seller didn't disclose or kind of hid something like water in the basement or some goofy thing? Have you had that happen before? And then what is the, what do I want to say here? What could the buyer do to alleviate that issue? Do you hear what I'm saying?
So, and I don't think it's sellers lying. I think sometimes maybe they could forget about certain things. Or the seller's disclosure can be a little bit intimidating for some sellers to fill out. So maybe they just missed what it was supposed to be on there.
Right.
I tell buyers, I really like having seller's disclosures for general information. I put a lot more weight in the inspection than I
Okay.
do really on the seller's disclosure, because they're gonna thoroughly go through that home. I mean, getting on the roof, in the attic, down in the basement, they go through it with a fine tooth comb. And we do have inspectors that we try to use. You can pick who you want. I would say just make sure you have a good inspector.
See, that's the thing, is like, how do you know? But that's a really good point. Don't depend on the
Yeah.
disclosure, because as Mikey's saying, and they're not saying that people are being dishonest. It's just like, again, maybe they've been in a house 30 years and they didn't remember that. Yeah, 25 years ago, we had a little bit of water in the basement. Okay, we'll leave it there. Let the
Yeah.
inspector do their job. You're paying them to do the job. And inspectors aren't that expensive for what they're doing for you. When you have thousands of dollars that you're investing in this property, worth the money. Totally. Go ahead, Brock.
Yeah, and I'll say we do have we have lists of inspectors that we prefer to work with, so we always make that recommendation. Another good question coming
Yeah.
at you here, Mike, number 9. What are the property taxes going to be, and what are the utility costs?
So for the property taxes, a lot of times it's on the multiple listing sheet, again, the information sheet that gets filled out by the listing agent. But I also will sometimes go and check the assessor's websites. There's different ones of those that we have access to. There's a public facing one, BSNA online, that you can check there as well. But I checked different sites for just to kind of confirm that they are what it looks like. Now knowing that taxes can change depending on how long the seller has lived there. Once the seller sells, they've been in a property for 20 years. The taxes become uncapped. Now it's going to be a different tax rate for the new buyer. And so, and there are sites again that you can figure those out, how to figure out taxes for the new buyer as well. And so, kind of getting an ideal cost for what that looks like. And then, as far as utility costs, that is something that some listing agents will get filled out by sellers, and they have that attached to the multiple listing service info. If not, you can always ask. I've gone back and asked an agent, hey, could you have the seller get the utility costs and breakdown for us? And most of your agents are willing to do that for you.
And I get one.
I mean, it's all.
No, go ahead, Mike.
It all depends. All right. If it's been vacant for a year, the home, those utility costs you're not going to get them most likely. But if it's somebody's lived in it, depending on how big their family is and how much they use, it's going to be different for you as the new buyer, but it gives you a general idea.
I was just going to add that if you're a first time buyer, you're younger, you've never bought, you've rented for a long time, and you're looking at the, like perhaps a Zillow, and you're looking at the property taxes, keep that in mind, because those property taxes, that is probably not what you're going to be paying. It's
Correct.
probably going to be different because of the purchase
right.
price of the home. So that's how they do the SEV, and that's how things work out with real estate. So just kind of keep that in mind, everybody. It's a ballpark. So, but that's why you need the fiduciary.
Yeah,
That's
it
why you need
is.
the buyer's agent. Because
Absolutely.
these guys,
Yeah.
they're not just they have a system at the selling team. They've got this stuff down. And so it's like, he's not out there multiple deals. Oh, I got a seller over here. I got a buyer over here. No. He's going to work for you. He's going to take care of business just like he did for us. Brock, we're going to make it. We got enough time to do number 10. Go right ahead. This is a big one.
All right. This might be the best question, really, and the one that Mike is so good at. Number 10, Mike, how can I make my offer stand out in a competitive market?
Yeah, and so it is my job as the agent to always call before I even start the offer process and ask the agent, are we competing? And even knowing that if we're not competing now, there's a good chance that we're going to end up in a competition, because the listing agent typically, once they get that first offer, they're going to go back to anybody that's looked at the property and anybody that's going to look at the property, and they're going to let them know they've got an offer now. If you're interested, here's a timeline to get in if you want to be in, highest and best, they call it. And so I always act like, even though we're not competing now, there's a chance that we will be. And so there's some strategies that we have. And it's not a secret tool. I think a lot of agents are using these, but there's like 4 or 5 top strategies that I always go over with my client that say these are the ones that are winning. Starting off with an escalation clause, meaning that if you don't want to pay any more than you have to, then the escalation clause works in a way. For easy numbers, we'll say $100,000 home listed for $100,000. We're going to make an offer because we know we're competing against another buyer with an escalation clause in it. That escalation clause, let's say it's $1,000 over the next highest offer up to whatever my ceiling is for my price. And so we could escalate up to 120, 130, whatever that is. But because we're escalating and we're going over what the list price is, considering that the listing agent did their job in pricing the property, right, then we're going over that, there could be an appraisal issue. Because I could offer $1 million, but we know it's not going to appraise for that if there's financing involved. And so I back that escalation clause up with an appraisal guarantee that would close that gap between where we offered our top price, close the gap on that. And so appraisal guarantee to back up escalation clause. A lot of free rent is being given back to sellers today because they don't maybe know where they're going, or they're not able to get into their new home yet. And then there is the escalation, appraisal guarantee, free rent back. I would never recommend not to do inspections. Best money spent in the whole transaction, inspections. But you can do where the buyer will do inspections. They won't ask for any repairs up to $1,000, something like that. That's kind of your top 4.
There you go. Reach Mike.
Got it in.
Mike, we did get it in. Mike.Deadman@gmail. Again, the phone number 517-944-6914. If you see a house, a sign pop up in your neighborhood like a mushroom, text Mikey and he'll get you good neighbors. Okay. There you go. Because I know him. He's a good guy and he knows good people. If our show fits your business or group's mission, we want to be of service to you through our guests and our topics, just like we do with the reality of real estate. It's been very successful and it's continuing to get better and better and better. Always remember, before you can share love with others, you must love yourself first. That's what we close the show with. Thanks to Mikey. Thanks to Brock for being with us. Sandy, Craig Stiles, everybody. We'll talk to you next weekend, everybody. Have a great week. Go out and ignite your life. Remember, the Tom Mattis Show is a production of Boomers Rock Media. We want to bring your story to life. And lastly, I want to say thank you to Mitch Anderson and Vanessa. We are out. That was great. Never fails. I have tech problems. I mean, but that's the thing about doing a radio show or podcast, everybody. You have got to be resilient when it comes to this kind of stuff because things happen. And I was kind of thinking of a way that I could, jerry rig this thing to get these episodes because it was so good to get those segments squared away in the episode. But it's going to work out fine. I'll get a hold of Mitch and he'll take care of business. But the top 10 questions buyers ask AI in real estate. This is a massive topic. Please get a hold of Mikey. His number again, 517-944-6914. Mike.deadman@gmail.com. Thank you everyone so much for subscribing, watching, listening, giving us comments on YouTube. It's awesome. And I appreciate you all so very much. Please utilize our sponsor services. These guys will take care of business for you. They took care of business for us and we love them because they are awesome. All right. Can't say much more about it. Until next time, everybody, I'm Papa Tom. This has been the Tom Matt Show. Thank you so much. Love you all. Peace out. Talk to you next week.